So I'm now jumping into bookkeeping. Again, what I've highlighted here is with banking, there's a little more automation with our bookkeeping. It goes hand to hand with Baselane as well. But you can, of course, go over to your external accounts, connect your external banks to Baselane, and head over to the transactions tab. And this is your transactions ledger. So essentially, this has all of the data from Baselane banking to your external banks to your credit cards. And the fun really begins if you're utilizing Baselane Smart, because first, I always recommend, all of your accounts will be listed, but what's nice is you can also, highlight just maybe an external bank if you just want to focus on that. You can go over to manage automations and you can opt in for Autotag Assistant. That's our AI tool that will look at every single transaction and essentially, make a decision on what category that is. And, you always have the ability when you opt in there to, select tagged by AI. So all of these are tagged by AI. You're kind of making an executive decision, double checking their work. AI isn't necessarily perfect. So if they've done something incorrect, you can make those changes. I will let you know that we are enhancing this feature so that way when you do make changes, our, auto tag assistant will be able to rectify in the future. So a good example of that is maybe Zelle or Venmo. They're not always sure what that will be. So when you get those payments, I really think what makes Smart awesome is you're utilizing our auto tag assistant, but you're also creating those reoccurring transfers. I'm sorry, reoccurring those those rule-based transfers or rule-based bookkeeping that can work side by side with the auto tag assistant. So you can also disable it at any point. If you do disable it, we will never change any of the transactions that they tagged. If you do enable it, you're an existing Baselane user. The AI Auto Tag Assistant would never change any of the tagging that you've done manually. They are there simply to update, in this case, I'll disable it and show you. It'll allow you to, or it is disabled, my apologies. It'll ask you if you want to do future transactions, if you want to apply it to past. And if it is past, it'll only categorize transactions that have not been categorized. So it's not really going to it won't override transactions that have been categorized by you. Now, what I personally love is that rule-based tagging, and that's because, there could be reoccurring payments that come in. As an example, I was talking to an investor who has Section 8 housing, right? So the state provides them with direct deposit. They also collect rent for the tenants portion on Baselane. They now are using, our rule-based bookkeeping because they're able to say, hey, Baselane, when the transaction contains or starts with, the city or the state. So let's say New York City as an example. If it's coming from this account or this card, which could also be virtual cards, could also be Baselane accounts or even external bank accounts. If it's this amount, you have the ability to tell us if it's a direct deposit, a deposit, money in, money out. If it's greater than, equals to, less than, in between, we're not sure. Maybe you're having Airbnb payments, you get changes each time. You can actually play around with it. Say it's in between, maybe $1,000 to $2,000, depending, this is an example. And then you can tell Baselane, let's update this category. Let's have this updated to, rent. And then when we go down to rent, you'll see Section 8 rent here. You can even tag it to the property. So you have that control as well, and you can select money out, money in. You can take contains with, you can add additional values. And also you can, as an example, work talent. I think this is another one that I use. You also have the opportunity to, preview transactions and see. So this is a mortgage, but it can also allow you to update existing transactions. So if you've done a lot of importing and you know that there are transactions out there that you don't want to individually go in, go ahead and also not only create the rule for future transactions for this specific vendor, but also have it tagged to past transactions. So I know this vendor, I know the description. I'm going to make sure that it is tagged past and do that as well. And then when you create those rules, you can also make them, different priorities, move them up as well. Sorry, you always have to do it this way to kind of prioritize as well. Oh, and I got kicked out. Give me just one moment as I re-add. My apologies here. How are we doing, Llama? Anything I need to jump in? Are we doing good?
We're good.
Awesome. Llama's the best. She's holding down the fort, and I appreciate it. Awesome. Cool. So, as I was showing, the rule-based part, another thing to kind of think about and highlight in Baselane Smart is also our receipt matching. Receipt matching is great because you can upload receipts up to 15 at a time. You can go over to the upload area. You can do this on your mobile phone as well. In the future, we are looking at having our users email us the receipts and then we can auto match them as well. When they are recently matched, they will be here. Your receipts will always be stored to the appropriate transaction. You can select details. You can also attach it to another transaction you would like. You can split that transaction. So you can unattach the receipt. You can go into the transaction itself and make changes as well. If we can't match receipts, they will be under not matched and it will allow you to essentially look at that receipt further, find the transaction in the list, right? So it can say attached to another one. It'll show you all of your transactions. You can search transactions here. And if you're not able to find it, you can also manually create the transaction as well. But we'll always every day try to match it. For unmatched receipts, though, we can only store it for up to 45 days and then it will have to be removed. But we will, constantly be trying to match it as much. You'll always have that category, that tab here where you can also look as well. And then lastly, in the bookkeeping side for Baselane Smart users, a personal favorite, right, is our ability to create custom categories by clicking this plus sign, choosing what group it can be. So, some people also like to do like pool pool maintenance, you could do it the way you'd like, but you can also check which type of area this would be under. So if it's an operating expense, if it should go under management fees, other operating expenses, you can kind of find out where that would fit. Is it a property transaction? So maybe it fits under property transaction. You can also go down. No, probably not a property transaction. My apologies. But it can kind of help you decide, where it would be. So maybe it's under cleaning and maintenance, but now you have pool maintenance here and you've added that category. So that way, when you go in, you can start being more granular, very specific, and you can start tagging this way. Additionally, I think it's worth highlighting in the workspace settings here, you can also go to transactions categories and now you have a full view of all of the categorizations that we have on Baselane and like sort of how they're mapped out. So these categories are already a given. They're already on the platform. They are based off of Schedule E. So these will be on the Schedule E report, which I'll kind of highlight. But then when you go in and you go to the subcategories, some of these will also show as Schedule E and you'll have stars next to custom. So if you ever wanted to change a custom expense, you've made a duplicate, you can delete that category as well. Again, if you delete a category, anything, it won't show, that category will not be available, but it would remain into the ones that you've already kept. But for the ones that, for the future, you won't be able to tag it to that category as well. And then lastly, members, I want to highlight here before I jump into the reporting, you can also invite collaborators to your workspace. So if you have partners, CPAs, virtual assistants, and such, you can go over to invite a collaborator and you can provide their email. So we could do support@baselane.com and actually choose what type of access. Are they getting full banking access? Are they getting limited access? This is part of Baselane Smart. There are two options here. We have a lot of feedback on how we can enhance our workspace access, our collaborator access by giving, a certain account view and such. This is not implemented yet. This is stuff that we'll probably implement in the coming months, but we do give you the option to give full access. So card management, money movement, virtual accounts, can't open new business accounts under the workspace profile. But you do have access to that account. And then limited access would just be more like transactional based. So they're helping you with the transactions. They have access to the rent collection, to the bookkeeping or reporting and such, but they don't have access to your banking. And again, that is with Baselane Smart. Now, if you are using Baselane Core, I think it's also important to highlight, you still have that ability to utilize the bookkeeping. Will it be a little more manual? Yes, but you still can go through the categorization. You can attach it to the property. You can go into every single transaction if you wish and click on it, and you can split transactions. This is already part of a split, but you can go through and kind of set it, like we'll just reset it as original. Now you can go in and you can actually split it. So you can split it by amount. You can also split it by percentage, which I think is pretty cool as well. So you have this option as well. And you can add a new split here too. So this is also available with Baselane Core as well as with Smart. Additionally, on Core, if you're not paying for the subscription, I always highlight, utilizing the search bar here where you can kind of do like a bulk edit. So searching the vendor, clicking date, and then clicking edit, and now telling Baselane, these 50 transactions can be the same expense category, same property, or one or the other. But again, this would be for past transactions. When new transactions come in future, you'd have to tag it if you're not using that Baselane Smart automation here. Now, you can also upload transactions. You can add them manually. Maybe you paid something with cash and you'd like to report it. You can click add here, and then you can also, and put those details, as well as import transactions via CSV. We do have a Help Center article for CSV, so that way you're doing it the right way. It doesn't get rejected. But what's great is you can upload a CSV file of your transactions, and then you can map them to your categories and properties and such. So that's another way to kind of